Have you ever shared a long, ugly URL and wished it could be shorter and cleaner? Whether you're a developer working on a project or just someone sharing links on social media, a URL shortener is an essential tool. Companies like Bit, LY, and TinyURL provide this service. But today, we're going to build our own URL shortener from scratch using Node.js and MongoDB. By the end of this video, you'll have a fully functional URL shortener that takes a long URL and converts it into a short, easy to share link. Plus, you'll understand how backend systems handle URL redirections. Let's get started. So let's get started by creating our project. For that, I'm gonna create a new folder inside this folder. I'm gonna name it as URL shortener, and I'm gonna open this folder in VS Code. Next, I'm gonna initialize a package.json file using the command npm init space -y. Afterwards, I'm gonna install all the dependencies whichever I'm needing. npm I. I'm gonna use Express, Mongo, NanoID, .env, and cors. So let me explain why I'm using this. First, Express is for handling API routes. Mongo is to connect and interact with MongoDB. NanoID to generate short URLs. .env for managing environment variables securely. And cors for allowing cross-origin requests. It's also useful when we implement front-end in the later stages. So let me install it. So those are installed. To check whether they are installed correctly or not, just go for package.json and see all the dependencies are installed for me. Next, we are using MongoDB Atlas, the cloud database. If you haven't set up an account, I already made a video regarding setting up and using the MongoDB URL in the .env. You can visit that. Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a .env file. Here I'm going to store my MongoDB URL as well as port number. Why I'm using this one is for security reasons. So you can use this or you can directly write, but it is recommended use the URL, sorry, .env. So this is my MongoDB Atlas dashboard. If I go for connect and I'm going to go for drivers and I'm just going to copy this one. This is the MongoDB connection string and I'm going to paste it here. First I'm going to type MongoDB URI, and instead of this DB password I'm going to give my own password, that is CWA123 I think. And whenever I send my data to the backend, I need it to be stored in a specific collection. Instead, if I don't specify the collection name, it's just gonna store in the text. I don't want that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, after this net slash, I'm gonna give it as a URL or URL shortener, whatever name you want to give, you can give it your wish. And I'm gonna just save it. In the next line, I'm gonna define the port as 5000. You can define whatever the port name you want to wish. Next, I'm gonna create our Express server. For that, let me create a file called server.js. First of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna import all the required things. So what this does is, first of all, what this .env.config does is it will load the environment variables. That is, whatever I have stored in the .env, it's gonna load it. This does is it's gonna import the Express from the Express folder and Mongoose from the Mongoose, and this is gonna enable the cors.
And I'm gonna initialize the express using const app is equal to express of. And I'm gonna enable JSON parsing in the request. Whatever the request I'm getting, I'm gonna pass it to JSON using app.use of express.json of. To allow cross origin request, I'm gonna use cors that is app.use of cors. Next, I'm gonna connect to MongoDB. To that, I'm gonna use the mongoose dot connect of. Here we are gonna give process dot env dot and whatever the name we have given in the dot env. I'm just gonna copy it, not copy this one, and I'm gonna paste it here. And I'm gonna add a promises. What this is, if the MongoDB is connected correctly, it's gonna give console as connected to MongoDB. Otherwise, whatever the error is there, it's gonna console the error. Next, const port is equals to process.env.port. Port is something we have given here. Process.env.port. And I'm gonna listen if this is working correctly or not. See, I'm gonna listen and port is whatever the port number your backend server is running at. Now if I save it and go for a terminal, let me clear it and type node server.js. See, server is running at port 5000 and connected to MongoDB. Now if I go here and type localhost 5000, it's gonna give cannot get because I have not defined any methods for that one, so it's giving like that. So it's proof enough that our local server is running at localhost 5000. Now if I make some changes in here like MongoDB Atlas, I will tell. Now if I save it and I want to stop the server and run it again, but I don't want to do it again and again. Whenever I save this server.js file, I want it to automatically run. To do that, I'm going to install a package called npm i nodemon. See, now what happens is, let me clear it. I'm going to type nodemon and the file which we are creating the server, that is server.js for me. See, it's starting the server. Now, if I change it back to MongoDB and if I save, just save, see, it's running again. So it's easy. You can use it, otherwise you can stop, run, your wish. So now let's define our MongoDB schema for storing URLs. Inside this one, let me create a folder called modules. Inside this module file, I'm going to create a file name called url.js. Now I'm going to define the schema for MongoDB URL. First of all, I'm going to import mongoose. Mongoose is equals to require of mongoose. Next, I'm going to define the schema. That is URL schema. This name can be anything you want. Since I am using this for URL, now I am using URL schema. New mongoose dot schema. This is the inbuilt method present in the mongoose. And here, what and all we need is we will first to get a shortened URL. We will get a one normal URL whichever you want to shorten. So that one I'm gonna take it as original URL and it's gonna be a string. and we can make it as a required is equal to true, so that it is necessary for the front end or however you are using to get that one. To do that, just type flower bracket and type what are the type we are using, that is string in this case, and required is equal to true. And whenever we shorten the URL, we have to show that also. To do that, I'm gonna type it as URL. That also same type string and required to. Another thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a unique true, because we don't want multiple short URL of the same name. Next, you can add this or not, it's your wish. But I am gonna add it as it is to show you. It will automatically timestamp each entry. Like whenever you create a shorten URL, it's gonna create a create date. That is the type of date, and default the date not now means it was gonna take the date and time at which it has created. And we have to export this. To do that, module dot exports is equals to mongoose dot model of URL. URL means it's a table whichever it's gonna create document, and URL schema is coming from here. That's it. Now let me create an URL shortener using the post method. For that, let me go for server.js. What first I'm gonna do is I'm gonna import the URL.js which I've created in the modules. To do that, just type const URL is equals to require of modules, like dot slash whatever the presence modules slash whatever name you have given URL. Then I'm gonna import URL, not URL. Next, I'm gonna import nano ID. Const nano ID is equal to required of nano ID. Now I'm gonna create a post method. For that, app dot post of, since I'm going for shortening the URL, I'm gonna give it as shorten. You can give anything you want. Next, request and response, and I'm going to use the arrow function. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the original URL from the request body, request.body, and I'm going to use the conditional statement to see if this original URL is posted from the request. If the original, if not original ID is not present, I'm gonna return a response saying for not found. Please provide a valid URL, or you can change it to please provide a URL, your wish, whatever you want to name, for debugging purposes. Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a nano ID for the shortening URL. Shorten URL is equals to nano ID of whatever number you want, like after your like after 5,000, if you want how many number ID should be there, depending on that one you can give it. I'm gonna give just 6 of them. You can change according to your wish. I want it to be short, so it's gonna create a 6 characters unique ID. We have send it as a unique, right? For this one it's gonna create the ID. Now what I'm gonna do is const new URL is equals to new URL. This URL is coming from here of flower bracket original URL comma short URL. I'm passing this original URL as well as shorten URL to this new URL. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save it. WT await new URL. This new URL dot save. Since await only works with async, we are gonna make this function as a async using async keyword. Now the error will be gone. Now we have to send a response the shortened URL for whatever the URL we have shortened, right? We are gonna send that one only. That is short URL, and I'm gonna send it as a response.json. Message short URL is equal to short URL, or you can directly send it also, your wish. Like if I just make a short URL, that's it. It's gonna save. Now to see if this is working correctly or not, you can use any of the testing like Postman and everything, but I'm gonna use the Thunder client present here. Let me clear all this. You can install this extension from going to extensions and typing Thunder URL, Thunder client, sorry. And if I go here, I'm gonna create a new request, and instead of this, I'm gonna give localhost 5000 and the name which I'm using route name. Since I am using the post request, select the post, and for body, just we need to send the original URL and inside a string. Sorry, it should be. You can select anything, but I wanted a long one, so I'm gonna copy this, and here I'm gonna paste this, and if I send, click on send. So sorry guys, what the error was, I have to define which request is we have to store in the original URL. So you have to specify that. That is original URL which I am getting. If I save it, see the node is doing its thing. And if I go for the request and if I send post, see shortened URL is this is the one. If I go for my database and if I let me refresh it, see I have a URL shortener. See this is the before one which I created. See original URL is this one and the shortened URL is this one. Created it or the timestamp. Now if I go back for the backend and if I type this one after localhost 5000, oh I didn't define any get methods here, sorry. Let me do that. Let me go for now. The testing is working, storing the backend and everything. So post method is working. So we have to redirect it to the original URL. Whenever I type this, it should go to the original URL. To do that, we have to create another method, that is post method. Sorry, get method. To do that, we have to go for create a route starting with the hyphen short URL and again request dot response. Here I'm gonna take the short URL from request dot params from the URL and const URL is equals to await dot URL dot find one of short URL. This short URL is coming from the database name short URL. And since we are using await, we have to change this into a async function. Now, if we didn't find the URL, we are gonna give the 404 error, that is URL not found error. And if we find it, we are gonna redirect it to the original URL. That's it. It's a simple thing. Now, if I save it, I can check it using the Thunder client. But why I should know? If I go here and if I now refresh it, see, it's going back to the this URL which I copied and pasted. Now if I use something else, let me go for the about, and if I copy this one, this link, and if I go for the request, and instead of this URL, let me paste whatever the URL I have copied now. And if I click on send, so this is the link which is giving me. If I copy it and if I go here and type http localhost 5000 slash, see, it's going for this page. Now we don't want to always go here and type the localhost 5000 and type localhost 5000 and type here. Otherwise, if you change the URL, if you hosted your projects and you have to use that, we don't want to do that again and again and again, right? So what we are gonna do is we are gonna change the post method. Let me show you how to do that. In the post method, if I just I'm gonna uncomment this. Instead of start and URL, I'm gonna give full short URL, like it's gonna consist everything. What is gonna return is I'm gonna use the backticks here, flower bracket. I'm gonna request the params, request that. First I'm gonna request the protocol. Protocol is the HTTP, HTTPS, anything is there, that one, and hyphen slash slash, and I'm gonna request the host, request dot get host, the localhost 5000 whatever is there, that one, and slash the shortened URL. Now if I save it and if I go for Thunder client, no need, it's already here. And if I for this same thing, if I click on send, sorry, I didn't change here the whatever the one. Instead of shortened URL is this one, I'm gonna pass the full short URL. Now if I save it and if I click on post, so it's giving the full thing. If I just copy this one, don't click on it because it's gonna copy the message, and if I click paste it here, see, it's working fine. If I change something to blog and here if I copy it and instead of this, if I send, see, it will give me this one. If I copy and if I paste, see, it's going for this one. Now if I refresh here, See, all the things which I have created until now, everything will be stored here. How this does is, whenever we pass the original URL, it's gonna convert it to this shortened URL. And whenever we try to get the shortened URL, whenever we have to go for the original URL, we will pass this shortened URL. Using this shortened URL, the server is gonna find this original URL and it's gonna redirect to this page. So among whatever we did until now, some of the common, let me stop the server. Some of the common mistakes are MongoDB not connecting. For that, just make sure whatever the name you are given here and in .env are same. That is one of the things. And sometimes you are gonna get a cause error, cross origin error. To ensure to fix that one, you have to ensure that app.use.cause is mentioned. These are the common mistakes and bugs you are gonna face.
Congratulations, you built your own URL shortener using Node.js and MongoDB. You can now deploy it to platforms like Vercel or Render to make it accessible online. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more full stack tutorials, and comment below if you have any questions. See you in the next one.